Okay, so here's part 2 of me reading Alice in Wonderland. I almost said eating for some weird reason. Sorry. Sorry. I can't talk today. She had hardly finished eating the second cookie when she felt her head pressing against the ceiling. She had grown so big that she couldn't fit in the house anymore. She had put one arm out of the window and her feet out of the doors. The rabbit started yelling, "A monster! There is a monster in my house! Help!" He was right to be scared by Alice. She was as big as a giant now, and couldn't move at all because the walls were beginning to shake, and as soon the house would collapse. Good gracious, one can't eat anything here without changing size like a telescope, Alice thought. A funny bird joined White Rabbit and began discussing what had happened. Interesting, very interesting. How did this giant get into your house? He asked. I don't know, but that's not the problem. How shall we get him out? The rabbit replied. We could try to make a fire, and the monster will have to come out so he won't choke, the bird suggested. The rabbit couldn't make up his mind. Perhaps the monster would indeed come out, but what about the house? Would it survive? Meanwhile, Alice managed to put her arms out, and with her fingers she felt some leaves. She pulled it, and there was a carrot. She hardly hesitated at all before eating. It was only a matter of habit, growing and shrinking, and she was getting used to it. As soon as she had nibbled the carrot, she once more began shrinking. As soon as she was small enough to get through the door, she ran out of the house. She saw the strange bird whose name was Dodo. He was very pleased with his plan and said, "You see, wasn't I right? All that you had to do to get rid of the monster was ask my advice. Don't hesitate next time you run into a problem. I'll be glad to help you." Sorry. The rabbit being relieved about his worry about the house, remembered his appointment, saying, "I'm positively late," and there he was running again. Alice started doing the same, It felt so good to be free again. Then an idea crossed her mind. The rabbit had left without taking his gloves, and when he noticed, he'll probably be mad at Mary Ann. Since he thinks I am Mary Ann, he'll probably be mad at me. Alice decided that perhaps she should look for him and try to explain that she wasn't able to find the gloves and she wasn't a monster. She was so tiny now that the grass seemed like a giant forest. She headed in the direction where the White Rabbit had disappeared. Alice looked all around and the flowers and at the blades of grass. Everything looked enormous. The air was full of strange insects. When she looked closer, she could see that they were flying cookies or toast dripping with honey. If only I could catch them, she thought, but they flew away. Alice also saw toys flying, small transparent horses who looked like dragonflies. Everything was so different that Alice had stopped being puzzled. It was like dreaming. As she walked along, she bumped into a big mushroom. She stood on tiptoe. and peeped over the edge of the mushroom. Her eyes immediately met with those of a large caterpillar sitting on top of the mushroom with its arms folded, quietly smoking a long hookah. If I pronounce that right. H-O-O-K-A-H. Let me know if I pronounce that right, please. The caterpillar looked at Alice for a while, then it took the hookah out of its mouth and addressed her in a slow and sleepy voice. "What are you doing here?" Alice shyly replied, "I'm looking for a white rabbit with pink eyes." The caterpillar began to laugh. "You're not going to catch him with your short legs," he said. "Rabbits run very fast." "I know," Alice said. "I don't run very fast because I am so tiny now, but I used to be a lot taller. Perhaps we could make you grow again. One side of the mushroom will make you grow taller, and the other side will make you grow shorter." Saying this, the caterpillar disappeared. Alice looked thoughtfully at the mushroom for quite a while, trying to think which side was which. It was a very difficult question. However, at last she made up her mind and bit off a piece of the mushroom. "And now what will happen?" she thought. She had an answer to her question very soon. She grew so quickly that her head pushed through the top of the trees, and she was looking out over the top of the forest, frightening the birds. She had become a giant again. She could hardly see her feet. "Where have my shoulders disappeared to? And my head? I can't see them, said Alice said, sorry. She was slowly moving them about as she spoke, but nothing seemed to happen, except a little shaking among the leaves. "Even if I do find the white rabbit, he won't recognize me now," she realized. A bird had confused her head with the top of a tree, and he came to lay his eggs there. Be off this isn't a place for your nest," Alice told him. The bird was rather puzzled by this talking tree. Alice was beginning to find it exhausting to change size all the time. She had had enough of being either giant or the size of an ant. "How puzzling all these changes are. I wish I could go back to my real size," she said. "But I can. All I've got to do is eat very little more of the mushroom." So she nibbled at the bit of the mushroom. So she nibbled a bit at the bit of a mushroom she had kept and brought herself down to 9 inches high. She kept a piece just in case she would need it later. Who knows? Things are so very odd in this country, she thought. She was standing, noticing with pleasure that she was back to the size of an ordinary little girl. When she had heard a voice behind her, she turned around in amazement and saw a big cat sitting on a big buff of a tree just a few yards off. "Hello, who are you?" she asked. "I am the Cheshire Cat," he grinned. It looked like a good-natured cat, but he had a lot of teeth, so Alice thought it was better to treat it with respect. "Would you please tell me which way I ought to go from here?" she asked again. "Then that depends on where you want to get to," said the Cheshire Cat. "I'm looking for a white rabbit," she replied. "What do you want to find the white rabbit for?" "I'll take you to my friend the March Hare," said the Cheshire Cat. Alice followed him because she thought a hare and a rabbit are almost cousins, so that perhaps she would find the rabbit too. "You'll also meet the Mad Hatter. He lives with the March Hare. We'll have tea together," the Cheshire Cat explained. When they arrived, there was a big table set on the grass in front of the house. The March Hare and the Hatter were having a tea at the table. There were several teacups and a large teapot full of hot tea. The March Hare was serving. The Hare and the Hatter greeted her, asking, "Is it your birthday?" Alice was forced to say it wasn't, although she thought that they would be greatly disappointed. "Never mind. We were just about to celebrate your non-birthday." "My what?" Alice asked. "Your non-birthday. You only have one birthday. All the other birthdays are non-birthdays. So that gives us a lot more opportunities to have fun and celebrate," the Hatter explained. Alice decided that she might as well enjoy this unexpected party. The March Hare rushed to serve her some tea, but he bumped into the Hatter, who spilled his tea on his coat and on his bow tie. "The tea is very strong. It will calm you down," he said. Alice was quite positively it was the opposite, but she didn't even venture to try to convince him. "Let's have a song to celebrate this young lady's non-birthday," announced the Hatter. "Twinkle, twinkle, little bat, how I wonder what you're at. Up above the world you fly, like a tea tray in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle." When he had finished his songs, he took his hat off and uncovered a big birthday cake with a candle. Boom! Suddenly the cake exploded and it was covered with chocolate ice cream. The Hatter and the March Hare found this extremely amusing and burst into laughter. Alice, who had by that time had enough of these two, left at once. Unfortunately, it was not too easy to know where to go. There were signs everywhere saying, "This way, no that way, up here, over there." She was very confused. Okay, so I'm going to stop the video here because it's getting long. So thank you for watching. I will see you in the next part. Bye.